research shows, according to Business Day, that the average age of anyone investing in the Nigerian stock market is 50 years old. Can you imagine? That is really old, especially in a country where a large part of the population is supposed to be, younger than 30 years. So here's how I earned 75% investing in the stock market over a period of 5 months. Hello everyone, it's so good to be back. I know I've been away for a while and I have received all your messages. Thank you for reaching out and asking me, tell me when next are you going to post a new YouTube video? I'm glad to be back and I'm here to share with you all that I've been up to. I've been up to quite a lot, right? So it's sometime in March, I wrote a blog post basically sharing how I was investing during the pandemic. And I got so many people asking me, okay, tell me what's the update on what you did in March? And I'm here to share all of the details with you. So starting in March, we held the stock masterclass with someone I consider a mentor. And I remember the first time I met with him and he said, you know what, I've been investing in the stock market for 25 years. That's a quarter of a century. I was surprised and I thought, you know what, I would really need someone like this to teach me how to invest in the Nigerian stock market. So of course I reached out to him and asked, can we have a stock masterclass, basically to share all of the knowledge you have and all of the experience you have in investing in the Nigerian stock market for over 25 years. And he obliged and we had a stock masterclass and it was such an eye-opener. And I dare say it was perfect timing as well, because at that time, that was the heat of the pandemic. The world was going through a global situation. So many people were asking questions, what is going on? But for us as investors, we recognized it as a perfect time to get positioned for great opportunities later on in the year. So what else exactly what we did? We said the pandemic was a great time to buy up great companies at a discount. So after the masterclass, I decided to take action on investing in the stock market. Now, to give you some background, right? On March 24th, the all-share index, which is an index used to measure the performance of the stock market, dropped 19%. Now, that is really low, really, really low. But that was a major drop in the Nigerian stock market. And for us, it was a great time to sweep in as investors to buy great companies at a discount. And that's exactly what I did. Now, you might be thinking as a young person, why the stock market? I don't really understand the stock market, especially not the Nigerian stock market. And I totally understand. I mean, research shows, according to Business Day, that the average age of anyone investing in the Nigerian stock market is 50 years old. Can you imagine? That is really old, especially in a country where a large part of the population is supposed to be, younger than 30 years. So I thought it was really surprising. And I decided that I was going to try it out and do some experiments and come share the results. So here's how I earned 75% investing in the stock market over a period of 5 months. Now, to be very transparent, I'm going to share with you an example of one stock that I bought. Now, I really like this stock because it is one brand that I relate with. I like the fact that they are very innovative, very original. We've seen them grow significantly over a course of years. I think over the past 20 years or more, they have continued to grow as a company significantly. Guess what the name of that bank is? You guessed right, GT Bank. So here's what I did. After the stock masterclass, after we had done the analysis and we saw that GT was a great bank, a great company to buy at a discount, I checked it out on stock market and I saw that it was trading at 17 naira 90 kobo. I thought this is the time to sweep in based on factors such as the PE ratio, factors such as the dividend yield, and I'll tell you how to calculate that in a bit. And I thought, you know what, I think I want to buy the stock because we just thought that it was a great company to buy into. And guess what? As at today, October 10th, right? I checked what the market was showing today, 31 naira. That is a 67% capital growth in 5 months. And not only that, GT Bank has paid both interim dividend and final dividend this year. I think the final dividend was 2.5 naira and then the interim dividend was 0.30, it was 30 kobo, and that's 2.8 naira. So dividend yield is 15% on that one stock, right? And I just thought it was amazing for me. It was a great experience because a lot of times when people talk about stock market, they just say, oh, you might get your fingers burned if you buy the wrong stock. But I've always heard stories of people like, Warren that says that, you should be greedy when others are fearful and you should be fearful when others are greedy. So, everybody was fearful in March during the pandemic. Everybody was running out of the stock market. So the prices of great companies were trading at unbelievable discounts, right? And we decided that we're going to take the risk and we're going to get into the market. And today I'm glad to show you my results. Now that's just one example of the stock I bought. Of course, I bought many other stocks that have delivered great returns. Overall, my entire portfolio has given me over 75%, right? Overall, in terms of ROI, in terms of capital growth, and in terms of dividend yield. How did I get capital growth? Of course, the difference between the price I bought it at, that's how I got the capital growth. And of course, dividend yield is the 2.8 naira. Remember, we paid interim and final dividend, 2.5 naira and 30 kobo. Now, the 2.8 naira divided by the price at which I bought the stock. And that is what gave me a 15% dividend yield, right? Okay, so I know some of you might say, oh, but that is not guaranteed, right? How do I know that I would earn that amount of money if I put my stock, if I buy up the stock? Well, you're right? I'm just giving you an example of a stock to show you transparently, like this is a real stock that I bought, and you can actually check the facts. What was the average price in March and what is the average price now? And so you can also check the facts and know, okay, how much have they paid the dividend? So I'm not just telling you stories, I'm telling you something that I have done. But you see, me telling you that does not mean that this is the right time for you to buy that stock. Because if you buy it now and it happens to drop in price, right, you lose out. If you buy it now and it happens to increase in price, fine. But the good thing is I bought it at a discount to what the real value of that stock was. It was very, very undervalued for a great company like GT Bank in Nigeria, right? So this is what I always say. How do you know a good stock? 3 ways for you to know a good stock, right? First thing, what is the current share price? Is the current share price, does it indicate value? Does it indicate value for money? You probably have to do some sort of analysis and know, okay, what's the book value of the stock? Basically, what's the value of the stock in the financial statements of that company, right? What is the price to earnings ratio? How much are they paying compared to what they're earning? That's a very good indicative way to know if a stock is, trading at a very good price. So what is the current share price, right? Second thing is, what is the financial track record of that company? Have they historically been profitable? One thing you find out about GT Bank is, in spite of all that has gone on in the Nigerian economy for the past 5 years, GT Bank has been consistently profitable over that same period. Now, that is a great company that everybody needs to be a shareholder in, right? And trust me, this is not an ad for GT Bank. This is just me sharing my experience about investing in the stock market. And the final tip I would say is corporate governance. One of the things you find in companies in Nigeria and Africa is a lot of them have poor corporate governance, structures. So you find a case where a CEO is taking a lot of the company's funds, using it to buy private jets, spending it on himself and family. That is definitely a company without a good corporate governance structure. Because when you have a good corporate governance structure, we ensure that there are systems and processes in place to ensure that nobody is taking the funds from the company unnecessarily. And of course, shareholders are rewarded. Remember, you have ownership interest in a company when you buy stocks, right? So as an owner, a part owner, a shareholder in a company, then I should be paid dividend for investing my money in that company. So it's very important that you check out the fact that that company has a good corporate governance structure. Now, you might always say that, how do I get all of this information? I know, it's tough. It is really tough. Because that is one thing that we're trying to learn myself. It is very hard to know where exactly to get this information. You can check the website of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, sign up to a securities company's website and get maybe their emails that explain things to you. But trust me, I had to go learn from someone who could break everything down to me in detail. And this is me that has been investing over a period of time. Right? So trust me, do not just take advantage of it or think that you can just go online and Google, and learn these things. There's something about learning from someone who has actually done it. So I learned from someone who has actually done it, and now I am sharing and teaching you what I have done. And that is what you can do yourself. So on a final note, right, what I would say is it always pays to have a long-term approach in the Nigerian stock market. And a long-term approach is knowing that you're going to buy a stock of a good company and you're going to be committed and you're going to stay with that stock for the next, say, 3 to 5 years or even longer. I find that that's the approach that has worked for me. Now, some people might trade short-term, but to trade short-term, you have to be actively aware of what's happening in the market, how the market is reacting, and what is going on, right? So I prefer the long-term approach where I just buy up good companies at a discount. I mean, grateful for the pandemic. I'm not saying there were adverse effects of the pandemic, but that was one good effect of the pandemic. It really brought down prices to a discount that investors like us could get in on, right? So buy up good companies at a discount and stay committed over a period of time, because for the next 10 or 20 years, as long as the companies that I've bought into stay profitable, I'm going to keep on earning dividend. Right now, that is passive income. It's portfolio income and also the type of passive income. All right. So when you think about the stock market, I would suggest having a long-term approach. Now, you can have both approaches, have a trading approach and a long-term approach. There are some stocks that I might consider selling off after I get, the total returns I want to earn on that particular stock. But for most of the stock I bought during the pandemic, there were stocks of really good companies that have done consistently well over a period of time. And I give you an example of one, and I bought them at a discount. So guys, try and understand how the stock market works, right? So I'm sharing my experience with you, not for everyone to rush into the stock market and say, oh, I want to buy, because in the past few days in Nigeria, we've seen the stock market really rally. Now, when I say rally, I mean in terms of performance, all share index has gone up to like 2%, when it dropped down like 19% in March. So we've seen that a lot more investors, a lot more institutions are coming into the market. So that is pushing demand, and that is pushing the prices of stocks up. Right? So be very careful that you don't get into a bubble, because we've seen this happen in 2008. A lot of stocks were really rising significantly with absolutely no core fundamental value. And a lot of people rushed into the market and got their fingers burnt. And as a result, it just rode off the stock market, the Nigerian stock market. I'm saying there's a right way, there's a right approach to investing in the Nigerian stock market. I've done it, and I'm glad to teach you if you join the Green Investment Club. All right? That is a community where we have investors that are like-minded, looking to see how we can diversify and invest across multiple asset classes. So I really hope you learned something from this video. I really looked forward to sharing this result from all I have done this year, and I will be sharing with you the other additional asset classes that I invested in this year as well. See you in the next video, and of course, if you have a comment, leave it in the comment section.